Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Friday morning. We made it. We did it. We made it to Friday once again. July 19th, my dad's birthday. It's my dad's birthday today. Big happy birthday to Harold. Great guy. Great dad. Great coach. Just a great guy. All around great guy. And I think that's where I get it, because you guys know, all around great guy. We are 1 week out from the Olympic opening ceremonies, about 5 days out from Olympic events actually getting going. So we're going to get into all of that. We're going to get an update on where the torch is at as it slowly makes its way towards the venue for the opening ceremonies. We're going to talk about some of the venues in Paris and some of the cool initiatives that they have put forward in light of some of recent years' criticism of the IOC and what they do to get these venues built, what happens to the venues after the fact. So we'll talk a little bit about what Paris is doing to try to be different. Opening ceremony outfits, always something that folks are interested in, and we are in Paris, France here. A little bit higher fashion feel this year, so we'll get into what some of those uniforms are looking like, things like that. I'm really excited. This is going to be an Olympic-heavy show. We will also talk about what's going on with the river cleanup in Paris. Controversy, and this isn't the first time that we've had something like this, where we're talking about open water being used in the Olympics that has previously had some concerns. So we're going to talk about what they're doing to ensure the safety of the athletes and what has gone into that cleanup. We're going to touch on all of that, but I want to start with something that we teased a little bit yesterday. Of Nike started yesterday hosting Olympic athletes at their facility here in the U.S. to begin equipment and uniform sizing and distribution. I know this isn't that crazy of a storyline to follow, but what you're seeing right here on the screen, this is what is being distributed to all 592 U.S. Olympic athletes between now and the opening ceremonies. They're also going in getting fitted for any of the sports that are using Nike equipment during competition. They're also going in for anything opening ceremony wise, as well as everything you're seeing here that they can just be wearing around the Olympic Village. We didn't have time to pull all of the videos that are out there, but there is some awesome footage of athletes arriving at this event yesterday. I actually used to work for a large company that was a large apparel and equipment sponsor of the Olympic Games, and I know what goes into these types of events. It is not just, hey, come in, pick up your clothes and get out of here. It is an entire day of activities, events, social media posts, content creation. It's just a really cool day, a really cool moment for these athletes. And it kind of gets to be their first, you're here, you made it, you're at the Olympics type moment. And just watching all this stuff yesterday and seeing, I think we can maybe lose sight of what these athletes, Olympics, professional, whatever, what they put into these sports. And I know a lot of the times, we have the conversation of like, oh, everyone needs to take it easy. It's just a game. For a lot of these athletes, it's not just a game. It's their entire life. It's everything that they've worked towards since they were little. It's sacrifices. It's early morning car rides. It's, their parents giving up entire weekends to take them out to track meets, to swimming events, to whatever. And these are the first moments where they kind of get to pull that Team USA logo over their head as an official member of Team USA's Olympic group, Olympic team. I'm not really sure if it's Olympic team, right? Yeah, it's all one Olympic team. So just awesome content that we were seeing yesterday coming out of the Nike facility and Team USA. I think this type of stuff is awesome. And truthfully, if you get a chance, go through this list here of everything that the athletes got. I'm pretty jealous. There's some pretty sweet stuff on those lists. And it's just awesome that they make sure that these athletes can be head to toe Team USA gear the entire time they're out at the Olympics, which athletes will be arriving soon to Paris. I believe you've probably already got Geez, because we're 5 days out from the start of soccer and rugby. Man, I would imagine that you've probably got some soccer and rugby athletes arriving this weekend, right? They have to be getting there. So, I mean, we're basically at a point where we are ready to go, to get all of these kicked off. So, yeah, like I said, they're getting their gear. They're heading to the village, and things are starting. Probably, if you're in Paris, things are probably starting to kick off as early as Saturday, Sunday of this weekend, because we're Wednesday is the official begin of the games, and then the opening ceremonies will be next Friday, so 2 days after the official start. But the 2-week clock starts here in just 5 days, so things are picking up in Paris. Teams are starting to get their gear. Teams are starting to get over there, get uniformed up. I'm really looking forward to it. I know, and now I will say, you guys have heard me talk a lot of soccer here over the last couple of weeks. Maybe for the first time ever, I will be interested in following along with what's happening on the soccer side. I'm sorry, Jay, I still don't know if you're going to get me fully on board to watch entire games, but I'll be following the results. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, that starts on Wednesday. Really exciting stuff there. Let's talk a little bit about the river cleanup. The Seine River. So look, I'm also going to preface this right here. We're going to talk about the Olympic torch here in a minute. The running of the torch has been one of my favorite things to go along with the Olympics since I was a little kid. I've always just found it so cool. They start running months before, they stop in all kinds of different locations before ultimately getting there. And then, it all cultivates with the last torch runner running in. But these French towns, I'm going to butcher so many French words on this show. That's why I had to check with the SEINE. The Seine River. And it's already bad, guys. So we're going to talk about the torch in a minute, but let's get back to the Seine River here. A $1.5 billion project, $1.5 billion was invested in the project to clean up the Seine River. For years, there had been waste as well as hazardous material dropped into the river. Back in, I believe it was 1928, it was officially, you couldn't get in and swim. They said it wasn't safe for humans to be in the water. This cleanup started back in 2015. It's been 9 years. Now, I'm going to circle back to this because I want to talk more about the venues later. France didn't want to build a venue for something like this. They didn't want to have to go outside of the city, whatever. They thought the Seine River was going to be a great natural resource for them to be able to use for some of the long distance swimming competitions. But of course, that comes with a lot of pushback and fear of, is that water safe for humans to be in? So like I said, back in 2015, they invested $1.5 billion, or it was the start of a $1.5 billion investment to get the river clean and safe enough for humans to swim in it. Now, about 2 months ago, the mayor of Paris, who you see pictured right here in the water just a couple days ago, said that to prove the water was safe enough to swim in, she was going to swim in the water herself as part of a public display. I don't necessarily know the right phrase I'm looking for here, but to show, hey, look, if it's safe enough for me to get in, it's safe enough for you to get in. I'm happy to do it. Well, a lot of eyebrows were being raised because this was a claim that was made a couple months ago. I'll get in the water and prove to you how safe it is. We're a week out from the opening ceremonies, and she got in the water yesterday. They took this up to the very, very, very last moment. I can't imagine the level of stress that was being had in those offices during those meetings, in those discussions about what do we do if we can't get this river to a level that is safe enough for us to be in. Because as recently as about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, the levels still weren't safe for a human to be in. The other issue they were having, the water levels were very high. The water was moving very quickly, and that made it unsafe for humans to be in. So, they, like I said, they took it right up to the wire. But the mayor of Paris did get in the water yesterday with a reporter from BBC. They filmed it all. They documented it all. And I believe they even opened up a section of it to the public to come in and splash around and kind of celebrate. But they took it right up to the bitter end in making sure that this water in the Seine was safe enough for Olympic athletes to be swimming in. It looks like we're good to go. I'll be 100% real and honest with you guys. If you go look at the video, that water doesn't look great. Like, I don't know if I would want to get in that water, but hey, they're testing it. They're saying it's clean. They're saying it's good to go. She was in the water yesterday. So I guess you just got to trust them, eh? I guess you just got to be like, okay, well, you said it's good, so I'm assuming it's good. We'll see. Everyone was kind of making the joke, like, let's check back in with the mayor on Monday, make sure she's feeling all right. But all jokes aside, I love that they got it cleaned up. I love that they got to make use of a natural resource. And that's going to parlay a little bit with just briefly what I want to talk about, and we can leave this up here, of them in the river. Part of the reason that they wanted to get this river cleaned up is Olympic organizers in Paris said that they had looked around at past Olympic Games and that there were so many venues. And look, like, there's countless examples around the world of venues that were built specifically for Olympic Games that then go widely or completely unused for the next several decades before they eventually rot or torn down, whatever. Now, Paris absolutely had to build a few venues. They weren't able to completely pull this off without constructing anything, but they tried their hardest to make this as close to a carbon neutral event as possible. And part of the way that they were doing that was leaning on existing venues and landmarks that already exist that can house large quantities of people or different Olympic events. We mentioned it on a show the other day. What they did for the beach volleyball setup was they built a temporary setup in front of the Eiffel Tower, so you have the stunning backdrop, and it's something that can be broken down and taken away. Again, if you go to the website and you go through the list, there are absolutely a couple permanent structures that had to be built, but for the most part, Paris and those Olympic organizers did what they could to do as many temporary, kind of packable venues as they could. And where they could, they tried their hardest to use Paris's natural resources and spaces to create makeshift venues. So I really like this. I love the commitment to it, because it's sad. It is sad to see that, the videos from pictures and videos from past amazing Olympic events and amazing Olympic venues now being overgrown with weeds and being, completely run down and unsafe to be in. I love Paris's commitment to try to do this the right way. Everyone remembers a few years ago in Rio, the stories that came out about the government having to displace people to build these venues. I like the fact that the IOC and the organizers in Paris worked really hard to make sure that they could put this event on with the stunning backdrops that they have naturally and without putting too much of a footprint on a beautiful city that was then going to just sit there and kind of rot away. So, like I said, this is just kind of a quick little side note for me to go along with the river cleanup. But if you go to the Paris 2024 website, they have all the venues listed out there, and it's just cool to see how much they're making use of there in Paris. I mentioned a bit of a higher fashion look this year for Olympic athletes heading into the opening ceremonies, with Team Mongolia absolutely turning some heads, being pretty much widely agreed upon that these are the best opening ceremony outfits we've seen maybe ever. And again, if you go look at them a little bit closer, the intricate detail on them is just breathtaking, absolutely beautiful. But if we roll, I think what we've got here, everybody is getting in on the high fashion look for the Paris Olympics. We know that look, you have Paris Fashion Week, Vogue, all of that stuff. Fashion is a big deal in Paris, and you can tell that all of the countries, all of the manufacturers took that to heart and made sure that these were statement pieces for the opening and closing ceremonies. Again, I haven't necessarily always been the biggest ooh, what are they wearing type person, but I think it's cool. I think the fact that they are embracing where they are in the world, they're embracing the fact that, hey, fashion means a lot here, and they are thinking outside of the box. If you followed my work, you have heard me say before, I like it when teams, leagues, organizations, sports, whatever, step out of their comfort zone. That's how you attract new fan bases. Can we roll that one more time? Just because I really do. I think some of these are stunning. So again, there's Mongolia, who, like I said, is kind of being widely considered to be the best looking outfits. There's another look at them right there. Real long, flowy. Haiti. It's just, I like when places step out of the box and take a risk. Spain, I thought that was Canada. We've got still a Canada. Canada partnered with Lululemon for their opening ceremony outfits. I love those there for Team Mexico. Just trying something different and appealing to a completely different audience than would normally, I can guarantee there will be some people who are into fashion who are going to tune in to the opening ceremonies just to get a look at what all the different countries are wearing. That's what you need to be doing as we grow and change, and the demographic changes of people who are watching these sports. I saw a tweet yesterday that said, man, doesn't it feel like the Olympics were a bigger deal when we were younger? And I do agree with that. I feel like I remember it being a real big lead up to the Olympics. You're going to get to see the best athletes in the world. I think part of it is social media, for sure. We have so much access to these athletes that even Olympic athletes who, maybe in the past weren't as well known, weren't household names until they did something extraordinary at the Olympic Games. That's changing a little bit. These athletes have personalities and they have their own brand that they cultivate. So I think that's part of it, that maybe, we see so much every day that it takes a little bit of the glean off of an event like this. I also think sports betting plays a part in this. You're getting fewer, and with every passing day, every passing month, every passing year, you have fewer and fewer and fewer fans of teams and athletes, and you have more and more fans of who is my money on tonight? Who did I bet on? And so I don't know. I think there is a little bit of a different vibe to it right now. And I think Olympic organizers, country Olympic organizers doing stuff like this, appealing maybe a little bit to a different group. This is how you keep stuff fresh. This is how you continue to grow your audience. It sounds silly when I say it out loud, but there will be people who tune in next week to see the outfits at the opening ceremonies will end up, oh, I really like that one. I'm going to root for them. And will then tune into events throughout the week to support the team whose outfit they liked the best. And if out of all of that, you build one new fan of a sport, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. I love when like I said, teams, organizations, sports, whatever it is, leagues, step outside the box and embrace something a little bit different. I think that's what they're doing here with the opening ceremony. Outfits, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. We're going to wrap up today with an Olympic torch update. Like I said, this has been my one of my favorite things going back to when I was young, watching the Olympic torch. They started running it on May 8th. And as of today, I'm scared, Jay. I'm scared to say it. They have arrived in Swazi-Montmorency. All right, I'm getting a double thumbs up. Tomorrow they're heading to Mull. But so the further dot is where they're at right now. Or nope, I'm sorry. The closer dot to Paris is where they are right now. If you follow the map, I actually believe they're running through Paris, over to Meaux, and then they'll be hitting a couple cities and coming back the other way to eventually get to the opening ceremony stadium. But we are on, let's see here, day. This is where I wanted. We are on day 61, running the torch of 68 days. So, again, 1 week from today, they will run the torch directly into the opening ceremonies, perfectly timed so that they can light the torch for the games that then burns for the next 2 weeks. But you can, if you go to the Olympic website, there's a tracker. You can see where they're at. You can see where they're running next. And I believe there is live video that's uploaded, kind of like the NORAD Santa tracker that we do every Christmas. But you can keep an eye on where it's at, where it's going, and how close it's getting to the ceremonies. But yeah, we were kind of laughing because they will be running through Paris today, and then doing kind of like a loop and coming back. So a really cool thing to follow. I think it's super fun to keep an eye on where it's at. And again, it just always kind of mystified me that they start running on May 8th and they end by running perfectly timed into the opening ceremonies to get everything, kicked off officially. So keep an eye on it. We got 1 more week on where it's going. I'll be providing torch updates all week next week as we lead up to the opening ceremony. So I'll keep you guys locked in on where it's at every day that we're doing GSD. I think that's going to do it, guys. And it's going to wrap it up for this week. Quiet sports week. WNBA went on their all-star break just a couple days ago. MLB coming back from their all-star break. So we are truly, while we wait for the Olympics, Copa America and the Euro Cup wrapped up last week. We have the British Open entering day 2 today. Excuse me, the Open is what it's called now. Entering day 2 today. It was a rough day for Tiger Woods yesterday. We'll see if he can bounce back, as a lot of eyes are on him about how he's going to be able to handle this weekend. Can he still compete at this level? We'll be breaking a lot of that down on Monday right here on Guerilla Sports Daily. Kick your week off with us then. But thank you guys so much for spending your mornings with us so far this week. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm looking forward to being able to watch the Open, see what's going on. Take a little bit of a relaxing weekend away from sports a bit as we hit Olympics next week. NFL training camps, a couple days later, and then it's full swing all the way until next June. So can't wait. Going to enjoy one final weekend of some calm, and then we're right back at it on Monday. Jay running the board again. He's heading out of town, so he won't be here on Monday. We'll have someone in there different running it for the first time in like a week. But Jay running the board. I'm Jesse Montano. This is Guerilla Sports Daily. Thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you on Monday.